Perek Dal Halacha Yud. Hilchos Chanukah. Chotzer sheyesh lo shnei psochim. If there's a courtyard which has two doorways, b'shtei ruchos, on both sides, and there's a Rishus Rambam on both sides, shvicha shtei neros. We'll go to the Peirush, because somebody sees one side, doesn't know that he's put a menorah on the other side. The Magen Mishnah cites Shabbos, of Gimel Amud Aleph. It says two neros in each one, even though Migadin, it's enough one. Because Shema Yemu or Ivrim, we're afraid the people who pass by will say, Beruach zelo niach ner Chanukah. And in this Ruach, he didn't put ner Chanukah. But if Beruach Achas, if there's only one entrance, Madlik Ve'echad man. In other words, if he has two doors on one side, then he can light by one, because the people see that there was a ner Chanukah lit. To be in Shloimeh points out, if Kavanas Rambam is to explain what the suspicion will be, he should have said, like the Gemara says, that since he didn't light in this Pesach, he didn't light on the other side either. And if he doesn't want to explain the reason, he should have said that we had two psochim, and he needs to light in both. If the two doors are on one side, he doesn't have to. He says, in short, that the reason is that people shouldn't say that he didn't light, which seem that that's the suspicion, and not because they will say they saw that on the other side didn't light. And what's the difference whether that's the reasoning? Where there's no proof, because according to the Gemara, he doesn't have to light even if he has two doorways from two sides. According to the Talmud Rambam, he has to, where therefore if people can know there's two doorways, so then they will assume he did it on the other side, according to the Gemara. But according to the Rambam, they don't know, therefore even if they see it, you would need to put up candles on this side. And he ends, though, that he doesn't like the answer. It's the answer to Ian. So he understood that people won't say it, this side he didn't do it, and maybe on the other side he did do it. Therefore, he asked the question, the Gemara, it says Beferish, that just like he doesn't have here, in the second side he didn't put in either. That's only if you know that he had two sides. But you can explain the intent of the Rambam, that the people who go by on this side, meaning on this side, and see he didn't put down a nair, will say he didn't do anything at all. Here they don't see a nair, even if they see the other doorway, and therefore they'll assume that even on the other side he didn't light, like the Gemara says, that even if they know there's two doorways, they will assume that he didn't light on either side. Rashi explains, a courtyard that has two psochim, that with one house of a person, he has two doorways in the courtyard. Meister Keach questions, why does he have to explain that? Because in Perek Dal Halacha Daled, we mention that Ner, that has two mouths to it, meaning he has two wicks, one on each side of the candle. Then if there's two houses or two apartments in the same wall, the doorways are next adjacent to each other, you can put it between the doorways. And here we mentioned it, according to Rashi, you put it in the Pesach Habayis. According to Taisus, you do it in Pesach HaChotzer. It's not enough in the Pesach Habayis. It has to be the Pesach HaChotzer. Therefore, Rashi has to say that the house has two psochim, then he has to light by both. Because Rashi is of the opinion that you have to light by the doorway of the house, not by the chotzer. According to Rambam, mentions chotzer is the opinion like Tosis. You have to light in the opening of the courtyard. And as we learned in Halacha Zion, the Ner Chanukah is a mitzvah to place it in the opening of the door outside in the Teva, which is close to the Pesach, meaning to the Pesach HaChotzer, not the Pesach HaBayis. Hagos Maimonides cites that the Rebbe says it doesn't mean a courtyard alone, that we don't see you need to have candles in a courtyard, but it means in the house that's in the courtyard, because the bias is what's obligated to have the candle and not the courtyard. Therefore, the one who lights in the doorway of the house, he should light. The din is said that if it has two doorways, whoever lights in that doorway of the chutzah of the house has to do it on both doorways. However, somebody's lighting in the Pesach chutzah, that there's a separate din. If the courtyard has only one door or two doors. Hagos Maimin cites Rae Simcha that we light inside, and it means because of the sakona, and therefore people who see outside that there's no Chanukah left will not be suspecting of not lighting Chanukah left. But everything else is noig in the house, just in the same fashion that was done outside. That would mean with regard to in the doorway, or rather not on the table, or below 10. The Torah Paskins, a chotzer sheish lo beis psochim, two sides. He has to be madlik in the two psochim, so they won't be choshid. That just like he didn't light on this side, he didn't light on the other side. Therefore, if both are on one side, and people can see both of them, it's enough he should light in one. Ba'atuma writes that according to us, that we light inside, it's always enough be'echod. Because the main thing is you should recognize the people of the house should know that it's going on, and therefore they know there's two doors. They know it's both of the same house. The Bach points out that Agoras Maimonides brings this din from Rabbeinu Simcha, and he doesn't say V'heim Yoidim. The Smak and the Mordechai write V'heim Yoidim. He explains that when you do it outside, even if they know that there's two doorways and one person, since the ones who go on one side, as we mentioned it earlier, see that he didn't light on that side, they'll say that he didn't light on the other side. But when everybody's lighting in the house, even though someone did light outside, then we don't have this suspicion anymore. The Torah himself says that one should not be lenient, and even we who light inside, we should worry about a Pesach bias, and if somebody has two doorways, then we'd have to light in both doorways. The Bach explains that his intent is, in his times, that they lit in the doorway of the house, which is next to the chutzah, but they didn't do it outside of the courtyard, but rather inside the courtyard. And since there are times that the doors open of the courtyard, and they'll see one door doesn't have a candle, they'll assume somebody else is living there, and they'll suspect that he didn't light there in the other one either. However, according to the minhag that we light inside the house anyway, the people outside can't figure out who's lighting what. It's basically for the inside people rather than the outside people. There's no need to worry about suspicion. He brings from cites Rabbeinu Yerucham that today we're noig to light inside Pesach, which is near Rosh Hashanah, and there are those who light in Pesach, which is near the chutzah. And since we're not used to put a mezuzah, the Pesach shepasur Rosh Hashanah, maybe Goyim will take it, and it's a mezuzah only to the Pesach which goes into the chutzah. It's better to light in the Pesach that has a mezuzah v'yemin v'nech Hanukkah v'smor. Shulchan Aruch in 671 brings Loshen Rambam, and the Ramah adds if he does it lights in both sochim, he only makes one bracha because it's only one house. The second one he does it without a bracha. However, today that everybody lights inside, and the people of Rosh Hashanah cannot tell whether you lit or you didn't light, and therefore there won't be any suspicion. And you don't light twice, but rather once. That would seem to be my opinion. That's the minhag haposhut.